What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel, and if you're kind of new here, don't worry, the channel's kind of new too. We're all growing together. So I try to have content available for most days of the week, and on Wednesdays I want to try to do some tutorials and maybe give some insight on the creative process, and yes, there will always be a bit of a tech aspect to that. I'll talk about the cameras and lenses that I use, some of the other tools, I'll probably dive into a new product if it comes out, and I might even talk about how to get the best out of social media. Do you guys remember this? This is the Narbox. This was one of the solutions that came out a while back for dumping all of your photos and videos off of an SD card after a full day of shooting. Now, as you can see, the Narbox has a fairly rugged body. It's made of plastic and looks like it can take a tumble. And then you have these big covers that cover up the USB ports and the micro or regular SD card slots, which is awesome. When it comes to social media, I do try to use the best tools I possibly have. I want to have a good-looking IG story in particular. What that would mean is that I try to use my actual cameras instead of just relying on the phone cameras. The phone cameras are fine, but if I'm able to do this and have full creative control over what goes on in the shot or what music is in the background and whatnot, I actually take that extra time to record high-quality video, put it onto my laptop, and actually edit vertical video. Now, I know some of you out there really don't like vertical video, but think of it this way. With Snapchat and IG stories, of course, vertical is kind of where we're going given our smartphones. So the idea was to get all of the footage that I would have taken throughout the day, put it onto this, and later I would put it onto a bigger form of storage. This was just for the interim, and I would be able to use the Narbox app, which allows you to access all the data, to pick and choose the different things that I want to post on social media. That way it would be on the phone. And for the most part, the Narbox was a pretty good solution for that. It did serve as the social media bridge between my main camera and my phone, which would post those posts. The only thing is that it does get pretty hot when it's operating, as it says on the casing here, but also the transfer rates could have been faster. So of course we're going to be talking about Narbox 2.0, and last week I was able to take a look at it in the flesh, and it was pretty awesome. I do want to remind everyone that the Kickstarter campaign ends in the next couple of days. By the end of this week, you basically have today and tomorrow to head over to the Kickstarter and try to get the Kickstarter rate on the Narbox 2.0. Make sure you do so. The link is in the description below. As you can already see, the Narbox 2.0 has a smaller footprint. It's definitely going to be something you can just throw in a bag and not really worry about, especially since it has IP67 certification. Now, the body does feel pretty rugged. It does feel like it can take even more of a tumble, and those ports are now over on the left side, while on the other side, they're filling up more of the space, being more efficient with it by even adding in an LCD screen. I really love that LCD screen because it gives you an even better visual representation of how far your backup has gone and how much is left. It also gives you access to a few of the new features. For example, you're able to change the folder structure inside of the Narbox 2.0 so that you can have different folders, and you can select which folder you want that particular SD card to go into. This is actually pretty huge for my workflow because I use the Panasonic GH5 where it has two SD cards. I can use one of them for my general shooting, and then when I know I'm going to be going vertical for IG stories or for social in general, then I can switch over to SD card 2. SD card 2 then goes into the Narbox 2.0, which has its own folder set up inside of the UI, and then I'll have everything just neatly organized. It also eliminates the amount of time it would take to back up the rest of the clips if I was just using one SD card. Now, Narbox is also developing new applications for the Narbox 2.0, and a couple of them in particular, well, all of them are really useful, but there was one in particular that I was pretty excited for, and it has to do with that mini HDMI port that you probably noticed over on the side. It's called Showcase. It actually has nothing to do with editing video or photos. Showcase is an application that allows you to just broadcast via the HDMI out any of the files that are inside of the Narbox 2. This is pretty good for anybody that just uses their cameras on vacations and they kind of want to show off all of that stuff to, let's say, their relatives or to their family members. You just bring the Narbox, which itself is a pretty easy to use and intuitive storage system, and you just connect an HDMI to it, and there you go. The other two are Selects and Sequence. Selects is for photos and Sequence is more for videos. Now, what I love about these particular applications, even though they might have a lot of the same capabilities as the original Narbox app, or really any other full-featured gallery app, is the fact that they have Adobe integrations. Through metadata, you are able to create project files, let's say for Premiere Pro using Sequence, and you can bring that into Premiere Pro. It will have the information for all of the different cuts, rough cuts, even any of the editing that you've already done with the existing clips once it imports that footage. And this is on top of all of the enhancements that you would hope come out of a 2.0 for something like Gnarbox. The transfer speeds are a lot faster. They're actually removable batteries, so you can get more batteries to be able to keep the fun going, as opposed to trying to charge the original Gnarbox up all the time and running out of juice when you need it the most. So as far as the Kickstarter campaign goes, there are a number of different flavors that you can get the Gnarbox 2 with, and personally I might be going for more of the mid-range one, but let's take a look at the different price points. The early bird deals, a lot of them are already used up, so you might want to get over there really quick, and after all, today and tomorrow are the last days that you can pledge for the Kickstarter. My use cases might be pretty specific, but I am in need of a pretty easy way of starting off a project, especially if I'm on the go. There are so many times when I'm on a plane and I can't even use my laptop in order to edit, so if I have a way of kind of roughly starting off, well, that's great. But for social media, that's really what I want to use the Gnarbox 2.0 for, because it gives access to all of those clips in an easy manner into an editor that is already existing in the Gnarbox ecosystem, and as long as that lets me rotate and do a few effects, my Instagram story should be that much easier to do. So you're all gonna have to wait with me, as any Kickstarter backer has to wait for a while for the product to finally make it to market, but at that time, hopefully I'll be able to have a review for you guys, whether you're a photographer, a videographer, a social media person, influencer, whatever the case may be. I do think it could be a pretty great tool. All right, so we're gonna call it on that one. Thank you so much for watching. Check out a couple of other videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, to keep up with everything that I'm doing in the various worlds that I'm diving into. So thank you so much for sticking around, and remember to enjoy your tea, everybody.